Hi friends, it's Diane from Boho Stamper. Welcome. I know I have a couple new subscribers out there, so thanks for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I appreciate that. I appreciate your likes also. I don't get very many comments on videos except for the ones that I have to delete, of course. But it's always nice to know somebody's out there watching them. So anyway, I'll leave this up here for a minute because, and I'm hoping third time's a charm. My camera keeps flickering. I unplugged it and replugged it in. Here's hoping. Yeah. So on Monday's video, I used one of the new stamp sets that will be available beginning May 3rd in Stampin' Up's new annual catalog called Uniquely Artistic. We made a birthday card using the large floral stamp set and die cutting with circles. I used circles because I wanted to focus the attention on some of the new dies that will be available in this catalog. If you don't have basic shape dies, which come in very handy for so many cards, you're going to have that opportunity. So when you get your catalog, take a peek at those dies. There are some special ones in this catalog. I don't have my pre-order yet, so we're going to use Uniquely Artistic again because when I used it on Monday with this card, I had a couple other ideas that I wanted to give a try. On this card, we embossed the pink panel here, and then, as I said, we die cut. Today's card is very simple stamping, no die cutting. If you need Stampin' Up! Products or you need one of the new catalogs and you don't have a demonstrator, I would be happy to get that out to you. Just contact me, Diane at bohostamper.com, and we can make that happen. So for today's card, I'm using a couple of products that you'll be able to interchange those, I guess is the right word, with the new catalog. Some of my elements, my bling that we'll use at the end are old products, but there will be new ones very similar that will work on your card. I'm using Peekaboo Peach, which is a retired color. Pumpkin Pie will work very well with this card. As a matter of fact, I'm using Pumpkin Pie ink, but I have about 8 million sheets of Peekaboo Peach that I need to use up. I don't know why I have so much, but I do. So this is a half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And I've scored this, folded it in half to make a 4 1/4 by a 5.5 inch card base. I have a piece of Pale Papaya. Let me get my measurements. My Pale Papaya is 2 1/8 inches across by 5 3/8 inches long. I opted for Very Vanilla today instead of Basic White. And this Very Vanilla is 1 1/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And this is the piece that we're going to stamp on. So we'll set the card base aside. I may pull out an embossing folder for that because I really wish on this card I had a little added something back there, and embossing usually helps that. So when we get to that point, I think I might. So I played with the other stamps in this set. There are some stems and little flowers, some additional leaves. Yep, these were all the ones I was playing with, my pinks and greens, to see what I wanted to make on Monday. And I started with Pear Pizazz for my stems and my leaves. I do want to keep a little piece of scrappy paper available here because I want to stamp off a couple of these. And I'm using the stem stamp first. And I knew I wanted to make sort of some wildflowers going up the side of the card. I didn't want them to be all just in a row. So if I do my stamp or my stem stamp first, that's going to let me, I was going to say, do I want to make this go off the edge? But I don't think I do. anyways, it's going to allow me to create my design a little bit. You know, my the shape of the flower path. Oops, I forgot to get my chamois out here. I just cleaned them. And all right, and then using also the Pear Pizazz. I'm going to do my leaves next. Let's do the flowers next because I have to put a scrap paper under there to go off of the page. I'm using pumpkin pie for the teeny tiny little stamp of flowers. This is the detail part. They have some circles in those. They have some lines in those circles to make it look like a flower. And you kind of have to twist and turn this. Now, because this is one of the artistic style stamps, not everything's going to line up perfect. And when we go to do our fill on these flowers, you're going to see that the fill stamp really, ooh, that light's making a big glare. The fill stamp really doesn't exactly fill these floral images in. And I did, when I was playing around with it, I did find that, excuse me, you can twist and turn this and get these flowers to maybe not necessarily be in the same position. I think I did it in an L shaped. Oh, that was on the bottom one here. I'll do it down here. If I use an L shape, and then I was able to turn my little flowers. I wish I could get one more. Doesn't really matter. That's the whole point of it being an artistic design. Okay. And then I'm using Pale Papaya to fill those in. Oh, I do still have to go off the edge of the page because I put some flowers along the edge of here going off so that it didn't look like it was just a straight up and down design. We'll worry about that after we get the leaves in then. All right, let's get these filled in, add our leaves, and then we can finish it. So there's another stamp in there that's a little less detailed. It just has some dots on there. And I'm using the Pale Papaya. I'll line that up and add some color to those detailed stamps. I don't know if you can see how that fill stamp kind of goes around the outside edges of the detailed stamp. They're not meant to line up directly inside. So don't freak out and think that your stamps are not made right. They are. Okay. We'll use some Pear Pizazz and get our first set of leaves on here. There are a couple different leaf designs. This little round shaped leaf has one that sort of bends to the left and one that sort of bends to the right. So I'm using a little bit of both. Just trying to think of what scrap paper I can put under here. If I put white, it just makes the camera go all blurry. I have my Stamparatus out here for my card front, and that's kind of butting in the way. I'm just going to have, oh here, let's just use a piece of notebook paper. Maybe that won't be so bad. Okay, that might work. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, so I'm using the little rounded leaves first. I'm going to stamp off once and add these to my very vanilla panel. Oh, missed. One of the good things about the photopolymer stamps is that you can see where you stamped, and if you do what I just did and then get the whole image stamped clearly, you can line it back up and pretty much get what you missed. If you're really careful, really careful, very, very careful. You can let your images go off the edge of your panel so that it doesn't look so patterny. I'm going to use some going in the opposite direction. Boy, these lights are really playing with me today. And then we have another little leaf stamp in here with more of a pointy leaf on it. Those I was able to actually line up with the stems that are in the little flower bunches. And when I stamped onto those stems, it just made it look like it was more a part of the flower. And I did that full strength because we stamped our flower stems full strength. And then just was able to fill in with some of these leaves to create the bouquet shape that I'm trying to make going up the side of my panel. I don't want it to be really straight. I don't want it to be too symmetrical. I don't want to have, you know, 2 flowers here, 2 flowers there. I want it to be a little bit more natural looking, I guess. Oh, Sissy's unhappy. Alright, and then I used my flower stamps again, and I just filled in some of the little empty spaces down the cut side of the vanilla panel. So let's pull those back out. Oh, she does that to me all the time. If I go downstairs, oh, yep, put it in green. We have to put the ink away when we're done. Yep, would have had green flowers up the side there. Good catch. If I go downstairs to do laundry, she waits until I'm the whole way down the steps, and then she'll start barking. And I can't tell if someone's at the door or anything until I come back upstairs, and usually there's no one there. She just plays with me. She thinks it's a game. I don't. Okay, we'll just add a few more little flowers on the side to fill this in. Let's do this one. Those look much better in a pumpkin rather than in green. Good Lord. Pale Papaya, and fill those in. Yeah, so if you like these videos, please hit the little like button down there. If you subscribe to my channel, You'll be able to follow along with some of the new sets that are coming out when we start creating with those. Okay, now if we were to line this up on our card where I know I want to put everything, and excuse me, let me just lose my voice again. And I know I want my sentiment or my greeting to be on the front panel of my card. I'm afraid that if I try to stamp it with these panels on here, I either might get ink on them, or my stamp, my acrylic block or my stamp could get stuck on the side of this page and not give me an even stamp. So I put all of this setup into my Stamparatus. I lined up where I wanted my greeting to stamp, and the little practice stamp you can see down here. I did a little practice stamp on my grid paper to make sure I had it on there straight. I had these on here, and I figured out where I wanted my greeting. I can take these layers out, and now I'll be able to stamp directly on my card base and have my greeting positioned where I want it to be, and I can make this as dark as I want. So if if my oh, I'm so sorry, my pumpkin pie ink was maybe a little bit lighter and I want my greeting to be a bit of a darker image, I can stamp twice and it will stamp in the same position, and I don't have to worry about creating a shadow or getting off my first stamp there. Great tool for if you're making multiple cards. You can just keep this lined up in the same position and keep putting your cardstock in and continue stamping. Really handy dandy. Then I knew I wanted to add something to brighten up the edge of my stamped border. I did take out, this is Mossy Meadow, and this is another item that you will be able to pick different elements in the new catalog, because this Mossy Meadow is a little bit older. And that would look pretty too. I just think it was a little bit darker on, darker than I wanted it to be on my card base. And so a while back, for one of my thank you gifts, I had offered a package of holiday ribbon, and it had Poppy Parade, and I don't know if this was Old Olive or Pear Pizazz, but Pear Pizazz and Old Olive are so close in color that you can get away with, especially because we've stamped off and then used full strength, we can use this ribbon, and even if this is Old Olive, nobody is ever going to be able to tell that those are the same color names. They're going to match wonderfully. So I lined my stamped image up a little bit to the left, just leaving I tried to make my border even on the top, the left, and the bottom, and left a bit of a margin on the right hand side. I just made my sample card a few minutes ago, and here I have to sit and think, what did I use? What did I do? Just a sign of getting old, right? Right. Try to get this evenly bordered on those three sides. Good. And the reason I turn it over sometimes when I'm trying to make sure that my paper panels are glued together is because if I have any ink on my hands by chance, I try not to, and I try to smooth it, I would make a mess. I want my ribbon to go down the cut side of my stamped border here, and so I just used a fine point glue I know Stampin' Up has a fine tip glue bottle. This is just what I happen to have on my desk, so it worked. You can use Tombow. It has a bit of a wider opening. Tombow is great because it allows you to move things around a little bit and get them evened up. I like the art glitter glue tip, but you don't have much leeway time with that. For this it was okay because I knew where I wanted it to be. So yeah, if you're using art glitter glue, you kind of have to know where you're laying things down before you glue them, because you don't have a whole lot of room to move stuff around. And I'll just glue my ends down on the back. Because I was afraid that my ribbon would make my panel a little uneven now to put on my card base, I decided to use double-sided tape to adhere this to the base. I just thought maybe it would be a little bit of added thickness to even that out. Seems to have worked okay. It's also going to help hold that ribbon down, so we don't have to worry about that going anywhere. So just use some two-sided tape. If you don't have any, you can most certainly use your liquid glue or your tape runner, whatever you're comfortable with. Oh, I was going to emboss that, wasn't I? Goofball. That's okay. It still came out pretty. I was just thinking I should have had a little bit more design on the on this background panel. I don't want to put it through there now because I have my ribbon and everything already glued on it. I hope everybody out there is doing well and you're going to be able to spend some quality time with your family or loved ones for Easter. I'm happy that you took a few minutes to spend some time on my channel here. Let's see, I did have a handle for my inside all ready to go. Alright, and then for my elements on the front, I wanted to highlight the gold that's in the ribbon. And I did have some genial gems, and these are Pale Papaya, and I think it was Mint Macaron, if I remember correctly. There will be some other gems coming out in newer colors, and so you would be able to use those. I already have a pack out because this isn't open. I do. Oh, here. Pale Papaya, Mint Macaron. Okay, so that would look very pretty. I also thought I could use the brush metallic dots in gold. Those will also still be available with the new catalog, thank goodness. Right. And then I had some of these, what were they? They were called Gold Glittery Enamel Dots. These are not in the new catalog, but there are some similar items that would be lovely as well. I like the Pale Papaya. It just wasn't pulling the gold out that I wanted it to. And I felt that these were a little bit too metallic and not as glittery. And so I did go with these gold gold dots. Maybe I just need to add a couple more on that panel to decorate it up a little bit more. That might work. Instead of using like the larger ones. That might be okay, huh? I think my first one I had put 2 on the large open area and only 1 up here. Maybe that's all I need to do is add a few more. They're supposed to stick there. That's good, I think, with 5. I think 5 makes a difference. It does help fill that in. I see the little putty on my tool there. So there's our card today using the Uniquely Artistic stamp set. And like I said, that'll become available to you May 3rd to purchase. My little gold box. And as you can see, I still have quite a few of those to use up as well. So they'll be being pulled out in future projects with some of these other things. Can't just throw them away, you know, I gotta use them. I don't want to be wasteful. Besides, they're still pretty. Got them because they were pretty. I'm going to use them. So thanks for coming along today and making a card. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you liked the card. I hope that it encourages you to get a little creative there and go out and send somebody a smile. Remember, if you need a catalog or you have some questions about products, or even if you're interested in hosting a workshop or something and we can do this with a group of your friends, let me know. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, and have a blessed Easter. Thanks for being with me. Bye.